Hey, beautiful souls, how are you doing? So, today I want to talk about money worries, money anxiety. So, let me know if this resonates with you because honestly, this was my daily reality. So, waking up every morning with a feeling of just that contraction in my heart area, just like a lurch in my stomach, just the minute I kind of came to in the morning and remembered, oh my God, money. If I had money in the bank, I would worry about it running out. If I didn't have any money, I would imagine absolute worst case scenario. I am doomed. There is no more money ever coming into my reality. Oh my God, I'm doomed. So all this fear would take over. I also noticed a pattern about myself, or a pattern that I had, and that was that if I had clients paying on a payment plan, so I knew I'm going to be okay for a couple of months, I would then notice that I found it very difficult to kind of kick on and mobilize myself to do work. All of a sudden I'd kick back. I was a bit comfortable. I had money coming in, and I knew what was coming in for the next few months. So I suddenly fell into these patterns of complacency. So all of this created states of perpetual fear, frustration, and of course, feast and famine in my income. So if this if you can relate to this, then yeah, it's common. It is very, very common for us as entrepreneurs. It's going to be, one of these daily struggles until we do the work that's required. Now, when I talk about the work that's required, I want to share with you just in a moment, like, what was my biggest breakthrough. And it was simply, I was reading a book called Tapping into Wealth by Margaret Lynch. I remember exactly where I was. I was actually in the bath reading this book, and it was one of those moments where I read a paragraph. And this book, I'd read it about 6 or 7 times previously. But the more you read something, every time you read it, you get something different from it. You read it at the level of kind of stage you're at, so you see new insights from it. And in this particular sort of sixth or seventh time I was reading this book, this sentence popped out and dropped in as an absolute fundamental knowing, this insight that, I'll be honest, completely transformed my money reality, my financial reality. And I can't remember it verbatim, but essentially what this paragraph said, what Margaret Lynch was saying, was that we believe that the sensations, the emotions we're feeling are in response to our situation. So I had a lot of debt back then, and credit card debt, and a personal loan from family members, and overdraft, and I felt all this shame around it. And I'd say to myself, oh my God, I feel so much shame because I have this debt. I feel anxious because I don't know where my next bit of money is coming in. And that was kind of the story I was telling. So, and that's very common, isn't it? It makes sense to think, yeah, this situation, if I didn't have this situation, I wouldn't feel these feelings. But it's actually the wrong way round. The fact is, this fundamental truth that absolutely changed everything for me in terms of my financial situation was realizing that I feel these feelings, and that is why I'm experiencing this financial situation, this lack, this scarcity, this debt. So I have shame inside of me, and that's why I'm experiencing debt. I have all this anxiety inside of me, and that's why I'm creating financial situations that are a match to that anxiety. So it's the emotions that we have inside of us that are perpetuated through beliefs that we picked up, patterns that we learned in childhood, beliefs that we learned from our caregivers growing up as children. These are things that we've locked in, and therefore we're creating in our external reality. So as I read that sentence, it was like I sat bolt upright, like sloshing water over the side of the bathtub, sat bolt upright. I thought, oh my God, that landed so deeply with me. And I realized that what the program I was running in terms of, I just need to work harder, I just need to push myself for longer, I just need to sell more, I just need to blah, 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 do. All of that was wrong. That wasn't the answer. What I had to do was go internally and clear the inherent anxiety around money, to clear the shame that was within my psyche, that was in my field. Because once I could clear that, then I could have the clarity of mind, I could take the necessary action, I wouldn't keep self-sabotaging and keeping myself locked into this external reality that I was creating for myself. And literally, when I did that inner work, when I cleared those inner sort of stuck energies and emotions, everything in my reality changed. And the biggest example that I have, you know, the most transformational in that moment, in the shorter term, was that I'd been in debt for 23 years. So from the moment I was 18 right up until, you know, in my 40s, I was struggling with debt, and I hated it. I hated it, but I just couldn't seem to clear it with any, you know, for any length of time. So I might have a period where I just managed to pay it all off and I just felt this like relief. But within a few short months, I was starting to slip back into debt and justifying it. And in those 23 years, I tried every repayment strategy, every budgeting app that was available, every kind of, you know, solution that I could find that people were extolling the virtues of when it came to clearing debt. None of them worked for me. So when I read this paragraph and had this insight, I worked on the shame first. I cleared the shame first. And within 6 months, I'd paid off £50,000 in credit card debt. Well, 47,888, something like that to be exact. So I cleared it in less than 6 months. That whole debt that I had been saddling, you know, been carrying around with me for literally decades. So that was the most profound short-term shift. But then what happened after that was I started to feel a lot of peace around money, a lot of trust that it just flows in and it flows out like breath, oxygen. It just circulates. It's always in this circular motion. And it started to become this flow that was I was very relaxed about it. I no longer woke up with anxiety and dread and concern, because I just knew that the money was coming in constantly. And even in those periods where my bank account was depleting, there was no anxiety about it. I just trusted that what was coming in would meet my needs, would all be met. And that started to be my reality. And what I then was able to work on was, okay, I'd like to start saving now. I'd like to start creating assets. So I was able to start doing that, because I didn't have these negative emotions and beliefs around money, because I'd done that inner work. I started to be able to have the clarity and the peace of mind to be able to take action, to be able to do the things that I needed to do without it feeling like, you know, I'm pushing a rock uphill with my nose. You know, it didn't feel like such hard work and relentless struggle and something that felt impossible. So what I want to say to you, if you can relate to the kind of the money struggle, it's understanding that it's not about hustling harder. It's about doing your inner work. And, you know, from a, you know, an immediate sort of practical perspective, what I would say to you, if you are kind of in that state of anxiety and worry about money, the first thing I would say is what you're doing is you're putting all of your energy and all of your attention and all of your focus into an illusionary future that doesn't exist. But you're creating that, you're making it real through your focus on it and you're worrying about it. You can put that exact same energy and attention into yet another illusory future, which is one that is prosperous, which is one that is abundant, which is one where clients are flowing in, and make that one real. It's faith or fear, both focused, both in the moment, not in existence, but you get to choose which one you focus on, which one you feed, and therefore which one you make real. So that's your power in the moment. That's the choice you have to switch your focus. Okay. The next thing I would recommend to you, if you're experiencing this anxiety, is acknowledge that what is going on internally, like the thoughts, your mind chatter about that is perpetuating the emotional fear, is observe it. Try and take that step back. Come from a witness consciousness perspective, where you separate yourself from this mind chatter. You don't identify with it. You kind of objectify the mind chatter. And as you take that step back, you're able to observe it as being separate from you. And this is so powerful, because in stepping back and observing it as being separate from you, you're able to almost see it for what it is, in that, oh my God, the mind is just freaking the hell out and it's creating these sensations in my body. I'm not going to go with these thoughts. I'm just going to observe them. And as you observe them, it literally is like shining a light, a beam of consciousness on those fear thoughts, on those fear sensations. And as you I always do that because I think of a torch. That's why I'm not like. So as you shine that torch, you shine the light of consciousness on the thoughts and the feelings, they dissipate, because you're not identifying with them. You're not going with them and fueling them. You're taking that step back. And so it's almost like a child that's like kicking off, and you're not giving that behavior your attention. So what's going to happen? The child's going to realize my kicking off is not working, and start to go, just realize this isn't working, and so it will quieten down. So it's like your ego is kicking up a fuss and making sure it's getting your attention, because that's what keeps the ego in place, and that's what creates the feeling of separation and fear and anxiety, and perpetuating these states. So as you break away from the mind and the sensations, you start to dissipate it through your conscious awareness of it and your separation from it. What then starts to happen is you feel a sense of peace coming over you. You feel a sense of acceptance of, okay, this is my current reality, but this reality is only an echo of how I thought previously. My power is in the now to create my reality for tomorrow and the day after and the week after and the month after. My power is in the now. Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. Your power is literally in the now, to recognize that, okay, this reality doesn't mean anything. It's irrelevant. It's old stuff. I can focus, change my reality tomorrow simply by exercising a new focus for today. So I hope this kind of helps. If you are experiencing that anxiety, you're not alone. It's so common. I mean, money really is it really underpins our sense of security, doesn't it? So it's no wonder it creates that fear state when it is in short supply. We imagine it's in short supply, but the truth is, you can open up the doors to your abundance. You can open up the doors to your prosperity by clearing the fear first. It's an inner game. Mindset. It is an inner game first and foremost. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope this serves in some way. And of course, if you have questions or you want to reach out to me, then please feel free to do so. I would love to speak to you. Okay, thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.